I've been visualizing, and I'm so good at finding a feeling place inside, but not actually having like the manifestations that I'm looking for. And then someone I decided to work with said to me, "You're not getting what you want because you don't believe you're wanted. You don't really feel how wanted and accepted you are." Well, it hit something inside of me. And what she said to me was that all the visualizations that I do and the happy feelings that I feel afterwards, it was like my happiness was just riding on a fantasy that wasn't real, and that I wasn't really able to bring what I wanted into manifestation because of my fear of being rejected.
Now here's the thing. So as somebody in an authoritative position says something like that to you, the tendency is to trust what they know. And what we're saying is the way those words wrenched your gut is your indicator that your inner being does not agree with those words.
But if it made me cry, didn't that mean it was true for me? If it brought emotion up for me?
Well, would you want to say, I want to feel good under all conditions, so inner being of mine, even when somebody says something to me about me that's utterly untrue, I want you to resonate so much with it that I don't feel any negative emotion? That's what you're asking for. In other words, this is the same thing. A lot of people say, well, I feel guilty. That must mean that what I'm doing is wrong. And we say, no, it means that what you're doing you think is wrong and you want to do what's right. The thing that you have to come around to understanding, and it's not the easiest thing to do when you've been brought up in a world that's been trying to get you to listen to them and listen to them and listen to them. It's not the easiest thing in the world to just listen to your own guidance. But we promise you, when you find negative emotion, it means the thought you're focused upon right now is screwy. And the most dynamic of person in the world could be giving it to you, and if it puts a knot in your belly, it's screwy as far as your inner being's concerned. And we want you to say, whether it's Abraham or anyone else that has offered the word to you that feels that way, that you've got to trust everything within you more than you do anything outside of you, because nobody else can know. First of all, nobody else knows who you were coming into this experience. Nobody else knows what you've been living every step along the way. Nobody else knows who you have become as an expanded being. As you are in a place where you're beating the drum of what you don't want, it's very easy to say, you know, you're holding yourself apart from what you want, and that may very well have been the only thing that this person was saying to you. Right now, this person could feel discord between who you really are and what you really want and what you're thinking about yourself right here and now. But it's not the end of the world that you're making it out to be. It's just a thought this way or this way. That's all it is.
Since that time, I've been on a mission of really loving myself and appreciating myself and valuing myself, but I think I've made it out to be this big deal, because if I don't get there right now, then I'm not going to have anything that I want in my life, and that's the most important thing to me.
Well, here's the thing. You can't not win, because sooner or later you're going to croak and you're going to become who you have been. So you can't not benefit by the way life has caused you to expand. And as you just try to soften the way you feel, in other words, the pleading in your voice is to say, someone that I believe in, somebody that I trust, make me understand. And we want to say to you, the understanding will come when the relief comes. And so far, since you've been sitting here, you've made no effort whatsoever to change the way you feel. You've made an effort to explain your point of view. You've made an effort to back it up by this very strong, influential person that gave you this information. But you have not yet made any effort to turn and go with the flow. And we understand that, because sometimes there's enough momentum going that way that it just feels like it has you by the throat. Someone said to us one day, Abraham, it feels like my thoughts are thinking me. That's what the momentum of law of attraction does. Whatever thought you've got activated, law of attraction will bring you more of it. But sooner or later, you have to decide, this isn't working for me, and let me see if I can find another way of going about it. It's not so different than anyone walking into a situation where they let what's happening dominate their vibration, and it has to get pretty out of whack before they decide to take a stand and offer a vibration differently.
So what are the thoughts that I can think from where I'm at right now?
Well, you have to find them, so try.
So where am I? Am I in hopelessness, or am I mad?
What does it matter? You know how you feel. Can you find a thought that feels better? In other words, does it matter where you put your boat in? Doesn't matter if you put your boat in here, if you put your boat in here. Doesn't matter where you put it in. Turning it downstream is the only thing that matters, and you can feel which thoughts feel better. Can't you?
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't it feel better just acknowledging that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Jerry and Esther received a phone call as they were coming to the hotel, guiding them. And it was hard for them to picture what they were being told about how to come in. Esther was trying to see it in her mind, but since she had never been to this hotel, she could not really make any sense of the information that was being given to her. And when she hung up, Jerry said, "What was that about?" And Esther said, "Something about construction at the hotel, and don't worry, you can get your car in." And so Esther heard, "We can get the car in," but it made her wonder, are there some people who can't get their car in? In other words, she felt the uneasiness of that. And then when they approached the hotel, they were approaching it from the wrong direction, and there was so much traffic. And they were signaling left to come into the hotel, but none of the traffic would part to let them in. And it looked impossible, and so Esther said, "No problem, I will just go up and make a U-turn." So she went up, and she knew that she was doing something pretty much illegal, but she figured that she's really fast at it, and so she waited for perfect timing, and she got herself almost turned around, and another car scooted in and took her place and left her sort of straddling the traffic, which meant not only was she not turned around, but she was blocking one lane of traffic that was wanting to go the other way. And so Esther began thinking to herself, her first thought was, I am a very bad person, and I don't deserve to be driving in this traffic. And if there were a policeman around, he should give me a ticket, and I would deserve it. In other words, she was beating up on herself because she had made a mistake, and she knew it was a mistake, and she did not like being in the position where she was inconveniencing others. So now she's got that feeling in her stomach. And she remembered something that we say on a regular basis, I am where I am. In other words, she could not physically pick that car up and move it. There was not one thing that she could do. She was blocking traffic from two directions and could not do anything about it until somebody else moved some way. So she sat there and she said to Jerry, I can sit here and feel terrible, which I deserve to do. Or I can try to find a downstream thought. And so then she thought, no one's really moving very far anyway. And then she thought, and these nice people in this traffic, not one of them has honked at me. And then she thought, they may be used to things like that in areas like this. And then she thought, and it's clear that I have Texas plates, so I have no clue what I'm doing. And even though nothing had changed at all, Esther's energy shifted, and then traffic started to part a little, and she made her U-turn. And then she said to Jerry, as she easily turned into the parking garage, you know, when you think about it, that was the best decision the whole way around. In other words, it really didn't hold anybody up, and even though it was highly illegal, it was the best decision under the conditions that we could have possibly made. And so what we're getting at is that it's... Fortunately, Esther and what she thinks is the only thing that matters relative to her vibration. In other words, she could let honkers bother her, but there weren't any honkers. Even Jerry was doing his best to relax. He was just sort of breathing and reading the map, hoping not to make eye contact with anyone in the other car. And mostly they were laughing because what a strange situation to be in. And Esther drives this monster bus all around and never gets herself in a jam like that. And here she is out here flexible. And the whole thing was really funnier than it was tragic. And it was more comical than it was anything else. And so all is very well. And what we're getting at is that you have the opportunity in every situation like that. Now, granted, this was not a very meaningful situation. Holding somebody up in traffic is not the end of the world. But many people let something like that get them off on the wrong foot, and so they're observing what is, they take it the wrong way. Now they've taken it the wrong way, they've got something activated, now they have something activated, and now law of attraction gives them more, and so it's just a cycle. It's like a chain of pain that never stops giving itself to you. And after a while, you begin to feel sort of tense about it, and you begin to question your worthiness. You begin to question your value. You begin to question your rightness. Every situation, you should be able to turn yourself downstream, no matter how serious it is. And overthinking it and trying to make it the turning point in my life, it's not the turning point in your life. It's just the turning point in traffic. It's not the turning point in your life. It's just the turning from feeling bad to feeling good, from being grouchy to being more positive, from being pessimistic to being optimistic, from being doubtful to being hopeful, from being angry to being less angry, from being angry to being frustrated, from being frustrated to being hopeful, from being hopeful to being believing, from being believing to being knowing. It doesn't matter where you are. It doesn't matter where you are, and it doesn't matter how you got there. And don't let anybody shine such a spotlight of scrutiny on you as to, for a moment, make you feel that you should have done something differently before you got here, because what does that mean? You should have done something differently before you got here. In other words, that doesn't help you when you're straddling lanes in traffic. I kind of know that. I kind of know that I could have made some other choices, but that doesn't undo where I am right now. And so now the best I can do is the best that I can do. And we want to announce to you so emphatically that you never forget it, it's enough. And it has to be enough because it's all you got. It has to be enough because it's all you've got. You don't have any other options other than to just feel a little better now. And when you make peace with that, and you do feel a little better now, you get feeling so very good. You get feeling so good that when something that before would have been a big deal to you, it's not a big deal to you.
So it really is just really monitoring my feelings so I can take myself out of boot camp today then.
Well, at first we said, don't monitor your thoughts. Instead, pay attention to the way you feel. To you, we want to say, don't pay so much attention to the way you feel because you've got yourself in a knot.
Yeah.
Instead, say, I mostly feel pretty good, and I'm going to give myself a break.
Yeah, I can do that.
You've got to let go of the grip you've got. You've been trying to psychoanalyze your life, and teachers do that, you know. There's a room full of you here that do that, where you want to teach others, you're such an uplifter, and you want to lead by example. Mm-hmm. Esther really doesn't like it when her voice is froggy because she thinks her voice should be ready for her to deliver the very best that Abraham has to give. And we like the example of imperfection that she offers because when you ask yourself to be perfect, you ask the impossible. That's like saying, I don't want this hot stove to hurt me, so I'll put Novocaine in my hands. There. Now the hot stove, now it doesn't hurt me. Now I am an enlightened being because I feel joy no matter what. And we say, but the skin is burning from your hands, and you say, doesn't matter. I can't feel it. And we say, yes, it does matter. That's why you want to be sensitive. You want to be sensitive. You don't want to be insensitive. You want to be sensitive to the vibrational mix between you and you see. But not oversensitive. You don't want to be so sensitive that you freak out every time you're not going exactly the way you want it to go, because that implies that you don't get the biggest thing of all. And you know what the biggest thing of all is? You're eternal. You know what the next biggest thing of all is? You've been going for a long time. You know what the next biggest thing of all is? The stream is moving powerfully, and you can't get it wrong, and you never get it done, and you can't get it wrong. In other words, believe in the stream. Believe in the stream. The way you're talking, it sounds like, there's this stream, and I'm crossways of the stream, and I've been so bad that the stream's probably going to give up on me. And we say, the stream's never going to give up on you. The stream is always flowing, and the only reason you feel so bad is because you're paddling so hard upstream, so stop it.